Hi, everyone. Well, it's that time. Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, which is when I do my live streams, Q&A, getting to know you, getting to talk to you, see what's going on, etc., and so forth. This is going to be this time for a while, at least for July and August. The time may change as we get into late August, early September, but just keep watching and you'll find out if I change the time or not. And already we've got James Gracia here. And I want to highlight this comment here. Good afternoon. I have some good news. The Godzilla movie is officially called Godzilla Minus One to be released in the U.S. on December 1st from Toho, post World War II. It's good to know. I think I actually found out about that myself, but thank you, James. I was reading about it. And I'm excited because I'm not interested in the USA versions of Godzilla anymore, really. Some were better than others. But basically, the Toho, the original Japanese company, I want them to make Japanese Godzilla movies, and it's good to hear this. And of course, it's great to know that it's going to be released in the United States. For a long time, they have not been releasing new Japanese Godzilla movies in the United States to theaters. So it's good to know what they're going to be doing that. And you're asking me this question, and I really don't know about that. Did The Good Earth win Best Picture? I don't know. The reason there's some movie questions here about the Good Earth and Godzilla is because I have a movie channel for anybody that's watching who doesn't know that. My movie channel is called Mayo's Movie Marquee. You can type that in, Marquee, and you can check that out. I really appreciate it if you subscribe. I have a new video up there about when I went to see Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, a classic 1940s horror comedy. It's fantastic. I had a great time, and it's on the movie channel, Mayo's Movie Marquee. And if you want, the way you can get over there too, if you hear it mean Mr. Mayo, all you have to do is go and look at the banner. Click on the banner. You have Mayo's Movie Marquee there on the right side for easy access. Hello to Henry. Hello to Mystery Train. You lost me there a little bit with that question. I'm not sure. And yes, indeed, Godzilla's name in Japan is Gojira. Gojira. Yep, absolutely. That's Godzilla. There you go. And that's what the original 1954 classic is called. So, hello everybody. Welcome. For those of you who are here, I see we have 29 people. I'd appreciate it if you'd like to like this. That helps me with algorithm. And if during this you feel like maybe you'd like to contribute a little bit to help out the channel, please by all means do that. And let's see. Henry says the last movie chat was one of the best movie chats in a while. I kind of agree. I did like the last movie chat, and that's over at Mayo's Movie Marquee. I should mention also that I do this kind of live thing with other people here. I have some friends here who talk about movies and television. It's TV and movies, anything really to do with that kind of thing. And it's over every Tuesday night right now. We're doing it about 7:30 most of the time. You'll see. Check out and subscribe, and you'll see me tell you when the next chat's going to be and what time. They're usually Tuesdays. I don't know the serial killer you're speaking about. Mystery Train. Hello to Raymond. What's going on, Raymond? So yeah, I'm trying to do this once a week. I was at the record store recently and I wanted to do a live stream from the record store, which I sometimes do. But I tried to really hold back because I like to be able to just save it for this special time once a week. Doesn't mean I'm never going to do pop up streams, unusual streams, impromptu streams. Oh, I see. The killer in Massapequa Park. Well, yeah, I heard about that. This guy was arrested for at least three murders. What is a serial killer? I never heard of him. I never knew him, but I know that the guy from my record store, one of the guys who works at my record store, said that he came in there one time. He remembers him. So there you go. Yeah, that's what he is. I don't want to give him too much attention, but there you go. What a sick F word, you know. So, what's on everyone's so-called minds as we sit here, you know? I know there's not always stuff to say every single solitary week if we do this religiously once a week. How was my screaming kids breakfast? Lila asks. Well, I did do a video where there was some screaming kids. If you mean that morning of the video, that was a long time ago now. Well, it seems like a few couple of weeks. So I'm sure it was good. Don't really remember it. But if it had been anything bad, I definitely would have remembered that. You know? So this is pretty good. I'm a bachelor, so to speak, for the weekend. Miss Mayo is away with a friend. They go to some outings, places they have to go. Just like I go to Beatles conventions sometimes, where they go to their shows. And there you go. The smart meter was funny. I think you're referring to that stupid way to pay for your parking that nobody could figure out. Yeah. Am I not a theater goer? Are you a theater going, not cinema? You mean going to the theater to see like plays and Broadway shows? No. I mean, I've gone to some in New York City. Haven't gone there in ages. I can't even remember what the last one was that I saw. But yeah, I'm not a theater guy. No. If there was something really extra special that I wanted to see, I would go. Have I watched Tom's videos on his movie channel? Yeah, sure. Is my friend Tom Hunyadi, who has a movie channel called Tom's Movie Channel, and I don't know if he's put anything. I don't think he's put anything up there in a little while, but I've been there. But like anything, it depends on what the subject is. I have a lot of good people here, a lot of good friends. My I don't know what associates, so to speak, here on YouTube who make videos, and I can't watch all of them. There are so many of them. And just like that, I don't expect anybody to watch all mine. So, okay, I was hoping somebody would ask this. James, hello, asked me, have you heard when the album Ringo will be reissued in 2023? I have not heard anything, and we're not sure if it is going to be reissued. And right now, it does not look good. And I'm glad somebody asked me this because I was going to say the reason I say that is because recently Ringo was interviewed very recently in 2023. And somebody just happened to say the Ringo self-titled album is now 50 years old. Ringo, congratulations! And Ringo says, "Really?" He goes, "Is it that long already? Has it been 50 years already?" So Ringo, if he's to be trusted in this particular interview, he has no clue whatsoever. It sounds like that this album, Ringo, the self-titled classic, it is even having a 50th anniversary this year. That would indicate to me that there's nothing planned for it. So we really don't know. Yeah, I've heard this movie Sound of Freedom is pretty good. A true story also. I think it's hilarious that you got some people out there, in the media who think that it's some kind of an agenda to make a movie like that or something. It's funny how it's okay depending on what the movies are. It's one way and the other ways are not okay. But that goes on. It doesn't matter what your side is. It doesn't matter. I try to stay as close to the middle as possible, depending on the situation. But it just goes to show that it goes both ways. Both ways people are hypocritical when it comes to certain movies. You know. Steven says, do I know if John changed the order of the songs on Sergeant Pepper's? I'm not sure about that. In 50 years' time, the internet will be turned off. Imagine the panic in the streets. If we lost the internet, people would go nuts. Hell, I might go nuts because I wanted to keep my channel going. Hello, Darren Gamble. What's going on, Darren? No, I try not to listen to AI. Try never to listen to AI if I can help it. Okay, Tanner, hello, says, I like that picture from Son of Frankenstein in the background, one of my favorite Universal monster films. Also, one of Bela Lugosi's finest performances, in my opinion. Mine, too. He's talking about this picture right here. Got Bela Lugosi here as Igor. You got his friend in the movie, the Frankenstein monster, played by Boris Karloff for the third time and last time. And yeah, it's a really good horror movie. It's great, and Lugosi's great in it. It's Lugosi's greatest role, as far as I'm concerned, right along with Dracula. Are there any biopics of musicians and famous people that I like? It's really hard to think about that because so many of them are just inaccurate and they're just sensationalized. I've seen a bunch of them and they all have mistakes, you know? So, and we'll miss you, Steven says. You mean, what do you mean? If the internet disappears? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Well, I've said this before many times. I think that the biggest problem we've got in the world today is due to social media and the internet. I think once we started with the internet, that was the beginning of the end in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people don't agree. It's the kind of thing where there were a lot of good things that came out of this. Look at this. I mean, this is great that we can actually communicate. We can talk. Sometimes you have friends up here on the sides. People can get together and share thoughts and opinions. That's fantastic. But there's so much else that's bad out of this that I would almost be willing to forsake this just to go back to the days before we had the internet. So, John ever played lead guitar? Yeah, he played lead guitar on Get Back. He played lead guitar on You Can't Do That. There you go. It's two that pop in my head anyway. I don't really. I've heard a lot about this movie Oppenheimer or whatever it is. I've heard it's everybody wants to see it. I don't know what it's about, to tell you the truth, but I've heard about it. La Bamba is good, Joe, but there's lots of things added for dramatic effect and things that didn't happen. You know what gets me about that? I always think that in a person's life story, true, accurate, normal life story as it really happened, I would think everybody has enough drama in there. There's enough drama in almost anybody's life story to make an interesting movie. I don't know why they got to add and take artistic license and put phony stuff in there. I'm not really big on that. So I've got my famous alien green cup filled with water. Well, it's half full. Notice I didn't say it was half empty. So much for that nonsense that I'm always negative. I'm negative a lot, but I'm realistic for the most part. Okay, the movie's about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the man who created the atomic bomb that was used during World War II at Hiroshima. Doesn't interest me. I'm sorry. I guess Henry. I I don't know. I'm not a big history buff. Don't think I'm interested in that particular topic. If that's what it's about, maybe I'll just pass. So today I went to the record store for a while. There was nothing there uh, to buy. I did indeed get some more footage, so to speak, footage that I can use to make my 100th record store video, record store reality number 100. There's nothing really special in it, unfortunately. A lot of people wanted to know, hey, number 100's coming up. Can you do something special? I put it out there that maybe what we could do is we could go to dinner. Me, Bazooka Joe, the owner, Corey, and Don, everybody's fan favorite. I thought we could treat Don to dinner. We can all go out and have a dinner for the 100th show. And, again, it's one of those things, you try to organize something and people just don't stick with it. People like, not everybody's heart's in it, and eventually things just disappear. So I said, screw it. Who? What is my favorite of the Three Stooges? Mo. Mo is my favorite. Um, yeah, that's funny, because you ask if I ever watched Beavis and Butthead, and I think that's part of the degradation of the world, idiots. But I've seen a little bit of Beavis and Butthead when it was on. Like, was it MTV? I mean, I saw it, a little bit of it. Not very funny, I didn't think. But it's funny you should say that because when I was at the record store today, I was looking through a pile of Rolling Stone magazines, and I happened to see a cover featuring Beavis and Butthead. Yes, I think Don would order the most expensive meal. Absolutely. I think you're right, Lila. Take Don to Olive Garden and explain to him what never-ending breadsticks is. Well, these days I personally am just not eating that kind of stuff, but you know, it wound up not working out anyway. I suggested it. We thought about it. You know, Joe. Of course, the biggest stick in the mud was Bazooka Joe. Of course. What's my favorite short film by the Three Stooges? There are way too many, but I tend to like the films with Shemp the best. I just think that with Shemp, I find the Stooges a little funny when they're older like that. They're not as young. They're more in their 50s. I just find them funny. I like Stooges shorts where they're basically doing domestic things around the house. Like I don't like them when they're in the army or when they're I don't know, wherever they may have been in the Foreign Legion or in the Civil War, all this stuff. I kind of like them when they're just around the house. And one of my favorites is called Goof on the Roof with Shemp. It's about them trying to put an aerial on a television set. And stuff like that. There's another one I love by them. One of my all-time favorites by them is called Corny Casanovas. That's when all three of them are in love with the same girl, and she's using all three of them really. And there's another one. I mean, I like mostly those situations with the Stooges. There's another one I forgot the name of it. I think it's with Shemp again. It's called A Gem of a Jam. I think that's what it's called. Maybe not. A gem of a jam might actually be a curly one, but there's something else about it. A jam. I don't know. I'm not big on Queen, but I do like that song "Best Friend." Oh yeah, Sons of the Desert, very funny. Laurel and Hardy classic. That is really great stuff. That's their best film as far as I'm concerned. How's the vinyl love resurgence? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. You mean me getting into vinyl again? If so, I'm having a good time again. I mean, I never really left 100%. I thought I would, but I didn't. Yeah, the Three Stooges, where they're delivering beer but they play golf, is called Three Little Beers, and that's the kind of ones. I mean, that's a good short too. With Curly. It's from 1935. It's one of their earliest ones. Those are the ones most people like. They like early Curly stuff for the most part when they're young like that. Yes, so that would be the movie A Plumbing We Will Go. So I even know the titles for a lot of with Curly. Yes, it's hot and muggy here. I don't love muggy weather. I don't love when it's really a lot very humid out. But I love the summer and I'll take it over the winter and the snow all the time. It's really tough for me to go out and have to hear people moaning and complaining all the time. Oh, it's so hot. Oh my God, it's hot. When are we going to get relief from this heat? And I got to hear that every day. It may be the topic of a rant video, one of these days. It's just ridiculous. But then again, I mean, I complain, as you know, I complain about a lot of things. But one thing I don't really complain about too much is the weather. I accept it. unless it's like a snow, a lot of snow. Snow it pisses me off, but if it's cold, I hate the cold, but I just accept it. Winter is cold, summer is hot. At least that's how it is here where I live in the eastern United States. And summer's hot, winter's cold. That's the way it is, folks. And it just drives me berserk when people complain. It's the same baloney. They complain about how hot it is. They can't wait to cool off. Then the winter comes, they'll complain how cold it is. They want to warm up. It drives me nuts. Um, I see we got Tom Hunyadi popped in. What do I think about Moe's autobiography? I enjoy it. There's a lot of good information in there. It's called Moe Howard and the Three Stooges. A book I read that came out in 1976, I think. I think a year after Moe died. It's very informative. I learned a lot from it. Some people think Moe is exaggerating or making things up here and there, but I don't think there's a lot of facts in there that are good. Henry wants me to talk about Freddie Mercury, evidently, because he made two posts on it. I just glossed over it. Yeah, Freddie Mercury's a good vocalist. I just don't like Queen much. I've never had a PlayStation or an Xbox. I was not into computer games. Now that I think of it, we had something. I know my ex-wife used to play Mario, Super Mario or whatever, and all that stuff. So maybe we did have one once. I don't know what it was, but I really didn't care for that stuff. Oh, well, now we learned that Henry wears glasses. Well, I didn't know that. Well, yeah, I don't like that bit when having to wear glasses now. When you go, and sometimes you go out there and your glasses get fogged, you know, because of the weather. That I'm not wild about. Mr. Blood Vessel's here. I haven't seen Mr. Blood Vessel in a while. He used to pop into the record store on Sundays, but I haven't seen him in a while. He says Paul is having a photo exhibition at the Chrysler Museum starting in December. Marcus Thompson has joined us. Hello, Marcus. What's going on? All right. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Yeah, obviously, blizzard weather is horrible and the temperature is like minus 10, but fall weather is perfect weather, in my opinion. I don't mind the fall, really. I still prefer summer. I don't mind the fall, but Mystery Train says hit that dollar button. Hey, he said it. I didn't. I don't expect everybody to do that. That's understandable. But just keep in mind that it does help. I know everybody's got their own problems. Snow is beautiful, though, don't you think? Well, I've said many times I like it. The look of it. It's a pretty picture. I like to look at snow. I like to, you know, sit in the house and watch it or whatever. Or sometimes drive through it when it's in the trees. You're in the car and snow is through the trees, the forest. It looks great. It's beautiful. Yeah, but the problem with snow, it's just hard to get around. It's just it's not practical for getting around places. Well, I'm not going to say that it's great. I know Henry's going to love this. A movie that got trashed or panned, everyone hated, that I think is good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good is the movie The Happening. M. Night Shyamalan or whatever. Well, I don't ever say his name is Shyamalan. Shyamalama Ding Dong. I like that movie. I think it's like a Twilight Zone-ish kind of episode. Don't think it's a great episode. Don't think it's a great movie. Think it's better than people say. That's all. How is Don? Well, he looked pretty good today. We hadn't seen him in a couple of weeks because he was staying with his friend Betty, and when he stays with his friend Betty, that means he's got money, and eventually she kicks him out, and then he's back out, and then eventually he needs money, so he comes like panhandling for money, and he showed up today. Hey, you got any money? You got any money? I said I need money. I love this. I just today. I'm waiting. Well, I'm waiting for my check to come, folks. I actually had a we have this box of coins that we have. We go to the Coinstar machine. Now, please, everybody, people are going to say, well, don't use the Coinstar machine. When you use the Coinstar machine, they take some of the money from you. I understand they take a percentage. I get it. But I made $55 today on the just coins that were sitting around in this box that we keep. And, I tried, I needed a little extra today because I'm waiting for the check to come. I have some more money. I'm not down. Believe me, I'm not saying that's all the money that I have. $55, but yeah, you get it from wherever you can. You know. Yeah, UPS is probably going on strike soon, and that will be a mess. I worked for the U.S. Postal Service, and we were not allowed to strike. They had a strike in 1970 strike or 71, and it was such a disaster. The world fell apart. The country fell apart because they couldn't exist without mail, U.S. mail. So they had a vow where they never could strike. They're not allowed to strike anymore. And I always thought that sucked, to tell you the truth. Because there's much more bargaining power if you strike. And the post office is not able to do that, which is pathetic. Stephen, thank you very much, Stephen Mock. See you later. Well, don't get me wrong. I don't care at all about Mark Wahlberg. I don't think he's a good actor. I like the idea of the story of the happening. I don't think that Mark Wahlberg is a good actor. Yeah, well, The Wicker Man. I never saw the Nick Cage version of The Wicker Man, but I did see the Christopher Lee version, which I think is the first one, which is that was good. I have no interest in seeing The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. What do I think about Billy Idol? Well, when I was going club hopping in my at 21, back when I was when I was 21 back in like 1983, White Wedding was a very big song, and then your Rebel Yell and Eyes Without a Face. I like the usual songs. I'm okay with the ones he's known for. I like those songs. Oh yeah, Dancing with Myself. I forgot to mention that. That's another decent song. That's good. Maybe for a movie chat, but do actors have a right to get compensated for AI usage in films? Strike demand thoughts? Well, I don't know. Say, a lot of these I don't mind movie questions. I welcome movie questions. It's interesting that we're not getting a lot of Beatles questions here for once, That's pretty fantastic. I don't mind answering Beatles questions, but something different. But all I could say is, as far as the strike goes, the writers' strike or whatever the heck it is, they get paid too much already. I love these people. They make like $1 million a year or $10 million a year. So I'm going to go on strike. I'm not. I don't know if all the writers and you know people on set and staff and all that workers make that much, but you know what I'm saying. My heart bleeds for you guys. Come on. Hello, Caleb. Good afternoon. I'm a little lost about this. I don't know. I really don't know the exact incident or whatever you're asking about. Sorry. Yeah, I know Tom Hunyadi won't agree, but there's still some good stuff being made today. But I think it's from most of what I see, I think it's an advantage to us if the writers can't write the movies. Uh, you know, thoughts on the song "Total Eclipse of the Heart." I don't really. I know that just that part. I don't remember the whole thing. I know that part when they sing. I like that part when they say "Total Eclipse of the Heart," but the rest of it I don't know. Uh, the average UPS driver makes $95,000 a year. That's way more than I made as a mailman. I can tell you that. People think mailmen make good salaries. They don't. Yes, I do have the Beatles book about their films here. This one here, it's called Act Naturally. Yes, I do have that book. Tom says only I guess 1% of the Screen Actors Guild make that much. All right, so they don't make $1 million. How much do they make? $400,000 a year? My heart doesn't bleed for them. I know that sounds terrible, but if you're making like 40,000 a year, 60,000, 50, $60,000 a year, you need a raise. If you're making like 500,000, 400,000 a year, you're fine. I'm sorry. I know it's jealousy. I mean, I admit it. At least I can admit it. Some people out there can't. It's like why should I used to work my onions off, as they say, and I didn't get anything near that. So Tom says the writers can write. Well, Tom's a more of a he gets out there more and sees a lot more modern movies than I do. So I know. Hello, Kid O'Toole's here. Hello, Kid. Good to see you here. Yeah, there was no air conditioning in the mailman trucks either. When I delivered mail, it was actually on a hot day. If it was 90 degrees out, it would be cooler outside in the stifling humidity heat than it would be in the truck. The truck would be like a freaking steel oven. I have no interest in Nirvana really. You know. What's my favorite Cyndi Lauper song? That's tough. There's a bunch of them that I like. Um, I like Money Changes Everything. I like the whole album. She's So Unusual. I really love. It's a pretty solid album throughout. But She Bop, Money Changes Everything. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Time After Time. I really like a lot of her songs. Okay, I got you, Lila. Okay. I have no interest in car shows. I mean, I'm just not interested. I mean, I have a stepfather down in Florida. He likes cars. One time I went to visit Florida and he wanted to go to a car show. Of course, I don't mind going with him. I went with him and it was interesting. You know what I mean? Like, they're nice to, I was able to enjoy myself. I was able to go there and see certain cars that look cool. Some of them look better, nicer than others, you know. But overall, I'm not wild about car shows or cars. Favorite Beach Boys song that would be "Don't Worry, Baby." That's easily my favorite Beach Boys song. I just heard it again on the AM radio I listen to. Martin says Nirvana were incredible. Play MTV Unplugged. You won't watch a better Unplugged. Well, I can't. I have never seen Nirvana. McCartney's Unplugged is pretty damn awesome, as they say. So I think I'll take McCartney's Unplugged, but I haven't seen every Unplugged. I don't know how many CDs I have. You can see some of my CDs in the rack over here. This is a CD rack, It goes down farther than you can see, but that's not all the CDs I have. I still have CDs stacked here on the side off camera. I got CDs in the living room, and there's a shelving in the living room. I have more CDs. I don't really know. Hello, Wes. I don't know the answer to this question. Could you recommend a good book from Kid '02? Yeah, Songs We Were Singing, Guided Tours Through the Beatles' Lesser Known Tracks. I don't think there's Elvis Unplugged. The '68 comeback, yeah, that's great. The '68 comeback is great. But I guess when you think about it, right, the '68 comeback special, that's kind of like Unplugged, really, isn't it? At least when they're sitting down, the part when they're sitting down, anyway. I mean, I'm telling you, I was eating some. I had a few cashews before I got on here, and sometimes the cashews get stuck in your throat. I know I've been doing a little coughing lately. I have coughs that come and go. I've been having coughing for like 20 years, coming and going. In fact, when I first made videos in 2012, I remember thinking, well, how am I going to make videos if I have to cough in the middle? Like right now, I want to cough. So let me put the mute button on. I did both to keep the camera off. Whew. And I mean, well, I don't know what it is, folks. I have some ideas. I got allergies. I get dry throat. When you talk a lot, this happens. And the Beatle movie book that I showed, that really is only about the basic five films: Hard Day's Night, Help, Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine, and Let It Be. Do I like shelled peanuts? I guess so. I don't eat them very often, but they're not my favorite thing in the world. Yeah, I wonder about that sometimes. I hope you're wrong about that, Star Trekker, because, I have reasons for that. I hope you're wrong. Nice. I hear the people upstairs. They were gone for like a week. They took a week trip. Oh, somebody's up there. Thank you very much. Yeah, and Talk More Talk. Check it out if you haven't seen it. We interviewed Mark Hudson, who worked with Ringo for like 10 years. Mark Hudson, formerly of the Hudson Brothers, and he produced Ringo and wrote songs for and with Ringo. And it's over at our Talk More Talk channel. I haven't seen that old guy in the store talking. The guy who was talking about wanting a Diet Coke. I haven't seen him in there since. Next time, whenever I see him, I'm going to record him. If he'll let me, I'll ask him. Is it okay if I? I don't. I'll ask him. Is it okay? Um, Henry, I try to stay out of politics as much as I can. Sometimes it's tougher than others. So, how would I rank Beatles movies from worst to best? Well, I would say A Hard Day's Night is the best. Help is the second best. I would say. You talk about favorites, or there's difference between best and favorites. Hard Day's Night, Help. After that, I'm not really that interested, to tell you the truth. Then I would actually say Let It Be, Magical Mystery Tour, and Yellow Submarine, probably. There you go. Yeah, it was a blast. It was one of our best shows. A lot of people like that. I thank people here. Thank you, everybody who went over to check it out from here. Yeah, they split in 2007, I think, around there, 2006 or 7. Well, Mark Hudson is a very good impressionist. He imitated not just Ozzy Osbourne, but I could do Ozzy Osbourne too. Yeah, hey Paul. Yeah, I mean, Beatles got me into music. How's that? It's my Ozzy Osbourne impersonation. But yeah, Mark Hudson, he's a very capable impressionist. That's for sure. We got a little lull here. Sorry, folks. It happens from time to time. Wait for more questions. I'm just glad that my new laptop is working so well. Oh, I said it. I just said it. Careful for things to go crazy now because I said it was working well. I have to curb my enthusiasm. I always wondered if that's what curb your enthusiasm means. I don't know what the hell that means. It's sad, because like I said, for about a week, the people who live upstairs were gone on a family outing. I saw them packing the car, I think last weekend, and it was so great they were gone a whole week, and now I hear thumping up there. Well, if things go the way I plan, we'll be getting out of here. As I say, when 2026 at the latest, the way it's looking. Hopefully, we'll get out 2025, but we'll see. What's going on? Are there still people in here? Are people still making comments? I don't see any. Oh, there it is. They are working on Windows 12. Yeah, I know. It gets crazy. It gets crazy. Hey, Penny Lane's here. Penny Lane, you're in my ears and in my eyes. So there you go. If I was stuck on an island for a month and you could only bring three things with you, what would you bring? Oh, well, see, that's the kind of question where I need time. You know, I know it's a fun question. What if? But realistically, I'd have to think about it. I know that sounds crazy. Sorry. If it was more specific, if you narrowed it down a little bit, well, I guess I'd bring you, Penny Lane. Maybe you and I, I'd bring you with me. Oh, that's terrible. I know I shouldn't say that, but I'm just being spontaneous. But we're not talking about people. We're not talking about like Miss Mayo. We're not talking about Penny Lane. We're talking about, um, you know, I imagine things, not who would you bring with you. JL Draw says, I remember watching McCartney's Unplugged in 91 and thinking it was one of the worst Beatles related performances I had ever seen. I never had the desire to see it again or buy the album. Shame on you. I think it's fantastic. It was so different from what he ever did at the time. That's why I liked it. It was indeed unplugged. Yeah, but you never saw him. When did you really ever hear him do stuff like the song Junk or That Would Be Something? There were some songs there that he didn't usually do, or We Can Work It Out. And then you said he redeemed himself a year later with Up Close, which was far and away the better show. Well, that was one of the shows. He played two dates there, and I went there. That's the one where I got up close to Paul, and I was only like 6 feet away from him or something. Um, but Up Close was a great show to see. The only thing about it was that he was promoting the album Off the Ground. He did almost the entire album. He might have done the entire album, close to it. Not the whole album, but he did the whole album before it was even released. It wasn't even released yet. Off the Ground. He did the whole thing. I like Off the Ground. I like that album. But they were all new songs for the most part. But he also did Penny Lane. She did Penny Lane. And he did other stuff. Um, yeah, Send I Love Her was beautiful too. Well, the thing is, I mean, Unplugged wasn't heavy rock. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't like heavy rock. It was, you know, more laid back. That's, I guess, is the idea of it anyway. More acoustic. I don't agree with that. I don't think Paul pretended to forget the words. In my opinion, I think he actually did forget the words. And I think Paul's the type of guy that would not like to forget the words. I think, on the contrary, I think Paul is the type of guy that wants to be as professional as he can, and he kind of like is a little embarrassed when he's not professional. So I don't know if I could agree with you. That's just my opinion. Oh, you donated your your CD of Off the Ground. That's not too good. Doc Doc says, I noticed that my keyboard is Lenovo. It's lasted me for quite a while. Must be quality stuff. I hope so, Doc. But I mean, you only just noticed it now? You only just noticed it now? How in the world could it be? Martin calls Off the Ground Paul McCartney's Preaching Practices album. Oh, I see. You didn't need it on CD. Off the Ground. You like the album, but you didn't need it. Okay. Alrighty. It's the 45th anniversary of Jaws 2. Okay, just so you know that over to my movie channel. I haven't done a video. I haven't done a video over there on Jaws 2, so I don't even know why I'm showing you this. Hmm. Doc says, I forgot it was a Lenovo computer until I cleaned it up this morning. That's funny because my computer right now is so clean. It's brand new. And, the other one, the last one I got rid of, was so dirty, man. Oh, if I was to get it and show it to you, you wouldn't believe it. But this one, I'm trying to make sure, for one thing, for starters, every time I'm finished using the laptop for a session here, I always try to make sure now that I close the lid. It's one thing I never did. I always left the lid up, and all the dust and the dirt gets in the keys and so forth. And it's still, even though I'm keeping it clean, I still notice there's some. There are some dusty particles and things on it. So, what Beetle location is closest to where I am? Well, the Beetle location closest to me, I guess, is New York City, and that would be the Dakota Building and things like that. The Ed Sullivan Theater, and now the David Letterman Theater. So yeah, so I already did a video on that. If you check out, I don't know if you checked out my last June of 2022. I did a going to see Ringo Starr video, and we went to the Dakota, Robert S. and I. Oh, I see, Doc. Okay, and Kit says Lenovo's a good quality. You should be good, Joe. Well, we did this right this time because, I mean, as I've said, the guy who helped us choose a laptop, you know, um, I told him exactly what I'm looking for in the sense that what I do, like I do YouTube and I do live streams, StreamYard and also Zoom. And he said, well, Lenovo's are very good for that because they're gaming computers, and even though I don't do gaming, it also helps with live streaming. Excuse me, talking stuff like that. Oh, geez, Paul's house in the Hamptons. Haha. Well, I don't know. That's true? Paul's house in the Hamptons. Thank you, Blood Vessel. That is closer. I think. The Hamptons may be closer. Paul's house out there. I've watched some Beatles location videos. I've watched some. Make sure you write that off. Well, yes. Yeah, I can write this off on my taxes. Um, do you like the CD version of McCartney 123 box set, or do you think the LP version is a better package? What's the 123 box set? Oh, are you talking about the thing that came out recently, the McCartney 1, 2, and 3 together. I didn't get that. So much for you people out there who think I always buy everything, because I don't. There's proof of it right there. Uh, yeah, it's a good point that he said about writing the computer off. The problem with it is, my girlfriend actually bought it not for me. I'm paying her back. It's the thing is she uses the credit card. I use cash. So sometimes she'll put it on the credit card under her name, and then I will reimburse her the cash myself. That's how we do that. So basically, it's her under her name. So I don't know about that. Were the '70s the best for films in general? I like my favorite films. Geez, I wonder. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe the '60s and the '70s were the best. Maybe. I love films from the '30s, the '40s, the '50s. I like some '80s films. Do I have a desire to go to those Beatles sites in Liverpool in England? A little desire. I think a lot of people have more desire than I do for me to go than I do. Um, one day I'd like to go. I don't know because, like, when I think about, like, for example, the Cavern Club, it's not the real Cavern Club. It's not the real cavern. It's the fake cavern. I hear there's a lot of things they're changing. They're trying to change. I like to see the Casbah Club. That'd be nice. John's house, Paul's house, yada yada yada. I'm more excited to go to EMI Studios and cross Abbey Road. I think I'm more excited to do that than go to Liverpool. I think. I don't know. I've never watched that '70s show. I know about it, but I've just never watched it. Okay, what is that one? Uh, I know you got to be kidding about that. The '90s sucked. The only thing I could say about the '90s music was not as terrible as it was the 2000s and 2010s and 20s. I didn't get a chance to say hello to Woodland Goblin, I don't think. So there you go. There he is. Lila says from England says Jacaranda is still a dump and the cavern is still a sweatbox. Yeah, I'm not as fanatical about. I got to go to England because I like the Beatles. But I wouldn't mind getting a picture of me crossing Abbey Road, walking across Abbey Road, making a video of me crossing Abbey Road, putting it, videos from England. Mayo's trip to England. Wouldn't mind that. If I don't go, I wouldn't be the most depressed guy in the world. If I didn't go. Well, Martin McGrath, I forget where you come from. Are you in England? I know you're not from America. Okay. I like Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction is one of the greatest movies ever made. Never saw Shawshank, don't care to see it. Never saw Seven. I like Reservoir Dogs. It's not one of the greatest movies ever made, though. And Titanic is overrated. Titanic. Doc Docker says modern songs are composed, quote, on an app. There you go. Are you excited for the new Beatles song that is supposed to be coming out? I'm not overly excited. I don't expect it to be much good, honestly. I mean, I'm excited now in the sense that yeah, just to have a new Beatles song, but I think it's going to be the Now and Then song, and that's not a very good song. I don't think. I have to remember that Martin McGrath is from Ireland. McGrath should have known. Ollie Perry, hello. Says, I just had a clean shave for the first time in a couple of years. When was the last time you were clean shaven? I think about the time maybe in 2012 or so when I first started making videos. I actually shaved all this off and I made a video where I imitated, you might not, some of you will know him, some of you won't know him, Leo Gorcey from the Bowery Boys. I kind of I got like a Leo Gorcey hat, took all the whiskers off, and I was like, the view from out here is excruciating. He uses a lot of malapropisms. You may not know who he is, but that was probably the last time. You know, so I do not like. I like to have some whiskers and stuff. So, well, what will have a physical release? What were we talking about? Yes, I would. I think they are. I think the Beatles are planning to Beatles Entourage and all that are thinking of putting out a physical release of the new song. Well, this is why I'm not going. I don't really care too much. Where is it? To go to the England sites of the Beatles. It's good as a fan to say you've been there, but you aren't missing much. Exactly. So I mean, I've seen a lot of them on TV. I like to cross Abbey Road. That's about it. So, other than that, not really. Okay, what's going on? We're going to hit the hour mark pretty soon. I like to keep these things anywhere from 1 hour to an hour 15 tops. Well, depending how things are going, depending how I'm feeling. So we'll see how this goes, and if we get more people, questions. Oh, you heard rumors that Phil Collins will. I guess you mean not. Phil Collins will not play drums again. Are you a fan of Phil Collins? I didn't. I never liked Phil Collins originally, but oh, might play drums again. He might play drums again. But anyway, I came to like some Phil Collins stuff. At first when he was, I remember when I was in my early 20s, he was on MTV doing a cover version of the Supreme song "You Can't Hurry Love," and he was like, oh, you can't hurry low. You just have to wait with that bald head. I thought, what an idiot. I don't know. I just never liked it. But, I never liked that video. Anyway, long story short, I think that some of his solo songs I like. It's just allergies, man. Are we talking way back about my cough? Because, yeah, that's part of it, I think. I wouldn't mind it to be the whole thing. I have not had the pleasure of hearing Richard Dolan's cover of Fleetwood Mac's "Dreams." I'm gonna. Is that a new video or an older one? I've seen some of his videos. I'm going to have to see that one. I wonder if Doc Dacus has seen it. He's here. Doc is here now, so you know. No, the new Beatles tune is not AI, not at all. And Paul McCartney misspoke and described it incorrectly. That's been covered. That's been like smoothed down already. Do I like Star Wars? I am not a Star Wars fan. I've said before, I think that Star Wars for me ruined a lot of movies because Star Wars took over everything and ruined horror and science fiction. Everything became Star Wars. But when I saw Star Wars with an open mind, I thought it was good. I don't mind the first trilogy, the first three films. But I'm not. I've never been a Star Wars fan. Never will. It's okay. It's good. It's worth seeing. I took my nephews to see the first three movies when they were very small, and the movies came back in the movie theater. I guess that was in the mid '90s, 1990s. Richard Dolan, I guess, has a lovely voice. It's very punk. I'm so glad the neighbors have come home just in time for my live stream. It's fantastic. After they were gone for a week. It was beautiful. It was like living in a house by yourself with no neighbors. It was great for a week. Well, nobody knows how the new Beatles tune is going to be presented. We don't know if it's going to have new tracks. It's going to be on some kind of new comp with a lot of different nuggets on it, gems, hidden gems. Yeah, Star Wars is just definitely. It's not really my thing. Like I said, but I got to give credit where it's due. I think it was enjoyable enough. But I'm a Planet of the Apes guy, and once Star Wars came out, it took over everything. And I don't know. I don't think it's as great as everybody thinks. It's my opinion, but that's we do. We give our own opinions. This question comes up from time to time. Should Magical Mystery Tour, the U.S. album, be a box potential set? I say yes. I say yes as well. I think they should put Magical Mystery Tour together with Yellow Submarine. Personally, maybe. I don't usually like them pairing things together when it comes to the Beatles albums in a deluxe set. Like for example, I don't want "Please Please Me" and "With the Beatles" to be in one box. I like them to have their own, each album to have their own. But I don't mind with those two because you're really talking about Yellow Submarine doesn't have many new songs, and Magical Mystery Tour was just an EP, so I don't mind that so much. 2001: A Space Odyssey. It has its moments. It's mostly look at me, look at me, look at me film. The effects I think are still impressive to a degree. Um, and there's a scary scene in there where Hal the computer starts to think for itself and take over and scare everybody. That was a good scene, but it's not a movie. I've only seen it once. You know, James, I'm not sure what you're writing here. Do you think the Beatles reassuring? I don't really know what you're asking there. Sorry. Okay, folks, I'm thinking of winding it up a little bit if we don't have any more questions or different people asking, or so I think we'll cut it here for this week. All right. Unless some things like pop up later as I'm signing off. Yeah, all right. So anyway, that's it. Don't forget Tuesday night. We should be, if everything goes smoothly, this Tuesday night coming. Every day Tuesday we try to do the movie chat where we talk only about movies and music, set of music, movies and TV, and that's all. That's going to be on Tuesday night. I don't know exactly what time. It could be 7:30 p.m. Eastern at night. You have to check my other channel. That's on the other channel, Mayo's Movie Marquee. And yeah, so we just James clarified his question. My question, Joe, was: do you think the box sets are taking too long to be reissued? No, no, no. I don't think so. We just had the Revolver last October. I mean, not even been a year yet since the last one. I think whatever. I don't know if we're going to get any more albums like Rubber Soul or anything this year. But whatever happens, we definitely should be getting something interesting to go with this new Beatles song. A lot of people think it'll be a compilation of some kind. So thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to sign off now. Next week I'm going to try it again. Next week if I do this consistently, next Saturday we're doing this again, which is what's today's day? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The 22nd, July 22nd, if my math is right, at 4 p.m. Eastern. All right. Talk soon, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And please subscribe. Thank you.